That's right.
Okay, I'd like to call to order the ZBA meeting on Tuesday, February 21st, 2023. If we could all stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Brzezowski?
Here?
Dunn?
Here.
Claiborne?
Here.
Minnelletti? Moretto?
Here.
Durango?
Here.
Tupper?
Here.
I make a motion that we excuse Craig because we knew he was going.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I do not see any correspondence. We'll move on to the approval of minutes from last month's meeting, January 17th.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll move on to the presentation of cases. We have one case this evening, ZBA case 23-726, James C. Sparks Jr. Location of property 2445 Ethel. Basis of appeal 1250.06 subset A, setback from property lines. Requires a 25-foot front yard setback. Applicant proposes a 12-foot setback to rebuild a wood deck. Could I have a motion to open this
Motion to open.
case?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So James, if you wouldn't mind stepping up to the podium and giving us your name and address and tell us a little bit what you're asking for this evening.
Okay, my name is Jim Sparks. I live at 2445 Ethel Drive. I'm asking for a variance so that I can put my deck back the way it was before a tree hit my house and tore it off. This is the second tree to hit my house since we've lived here. I lost my seawall in my yard and irrigation in 21, and I lost my deck and my roof in 22. And I just had, it's going to be shorter than 12. I don't know where they said 12 on the 12 feet. 12 feet. It's going to be closer than 12 feet.
Closer to your house or closer to?
Closer to the property line.
Okay.
I have pictures are worth 1,000 words. To prove the points that they gave me and the thing I have, there's also a letter from one of my neighbors in there in support, and I also have my other two neighbors joined me this evening, in support of what I'm asking. So just bear with me here.
So we do need a
Thank you.
specific, so why are you,
I'll give you a specific.
for the distance? I mean,
Yes.
in the, I don't know if the zoning administrator will confirm, or,
In the application that I provided with you, we had a surveyor. Unfortunately for me, when we bought the house, they had a professional surveyor, and I was able to provide that. So if you look at the surveyor's report along Commerce Road there, you'll see that the corner of my garage, as it was built when I purchased the house, is literally 1.5 feet from the property line. That was the garage as it was. So the deck will be, when it is finished, it'll be 4.5 feet from the property line. And then these pictures, like some of the things it was asking me, first was to show that it was a unique circumstance. As you can see, we did not plan to build a new deck. It's out of necessity. The tree completely demolished it. My wife was actually on the deck when it fell, and fortunately she was fine. If you go to the third picture where I put a vertical red line there, to show how if you comply with the dimensional requirements, it would unreasonably prevent us from using the property as permitted. That red line would be 25 feet from the property line. So as you can see, the door to my garage to the left of that line would be rendered useless, as well as the stairs. And the front of my house below the deck has no facing on it, because it was always intended to have a deck there. So if the deck isn't put back in that location, I would have to provide like whole new facing to the house there, because it's just exposed masonry where the deck attaches to the house. And then the last one I put in there is, they explained to me that I have a corner lot, and considering I have 2 front yards, the property line in question, to show that it would not be any inconvenience to any neighbors, that ditch there, which DTE has left all the debris from when they cleared the tree off the wires, that's the front yard in question. So as I explained to Bonnie, she was just visiting my house, like the only thing that lives in that front yard is moles and woodchucks. Like, it's only a front yard by definition. I argue that qualifies as an actual front yard. Like I said, I never intended to build a new structure. It's just simply to put back the deck that was originally there, and, obviously it would be better construction and much more pleasing to the eye than the one that was there, even though I spent a week this summer power washing and staining the deck right before the tree knocked it down.
Great.
Like I said, I have some people in support as well.
Yep. We'll open to the public, so
Okay.
if anybody wants to come up, perfect.
And just to clarify,
Sure.
if I may.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, please.
So the request that was noticed and published, everything, says that you were requesting a 12-foot
I
setback.
honestly don't know where 12,
So are you saying it's 16 then, if you're saying it's about 4.5 less?
the deck will be 4.5 feet from the property line.
Right, but the property line, so you're saying.
That red line would
Hopefully
be,
asking for more then. Yeah.
that red line would be if I went from the
Gotcha,
property
gotcha,
line and went
gotcha.
25, that's where it'd be. And even if I went 12, that's why I don't know where the 12 came from, because the 12 would put it right in the middle of that door. Of the door of my garage that you see right there. And the garage as it is, the garage is literally 1.5 feet from the property line, if you look at that surveyor's report. And I had nothing to do with the garage.
So the issue from a legal standpoint is that not your fault.
Nothing's been my fault.
That is just that what was noticed up, you're asking for a greater variance than in the end. Because really you're looking, if it's 4 feet, you're looking for, if it's supposed to be 25 feet, you're asking for a 21-foot variance, not a 12.
12.
Right.
Like I said, I don't know where that
So-
12 came from. Like, I did not measure that.
The 12 came from the application for building permit on the aerial.
The aerial,
was-
well, the aerial didn't consider the,
That was what I was provided. So that had 12 feet on it. So there was an aerial photograph of the lot showing that distance to the corner of the deck. I didn't have the survey in my first
You must have been
application.
measuring to the tree line or something along the road. rather than
I mean, we
the
are
property
doing,
line.
you are keeping it to the same footprint that
the
it was
exact, it's
before.
actually a little smaller than the
So-
other one.
Still in there.
It's not as far out, like it's, that was another thing I had to measure was from the waterfront. It's actually further back from the water than it used to be.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a way we can,
I don't see a way you can do it. It's
Do
not
this.
accurate.
only because technically we're asking for a greater variance than what was, but do we even have it confirmed the 4 feet? This is the thing.
That's
We're-
the other.
That one, because I measured it off of the survey, because when I went through the zoning appeal, I actually went and bought a metal detector and found the rods that the surveyor put in, and I staked them, and then I walked as opposed to just the aerial and trying to do it like based on it, when I went through the zoning appeal, they required me that I stake it, so when I staked it, I was able to walk it and get a more precise measurement.
Because this still doesn't even tell us for sure. So, I mean, I think we can, the notice does say to rebuild a wood deck. So, it is premised on the idea in the notice that he's building what was there. I mean, either way, then we wouldn't necessarily have the correct information if we're going to get, I feel legally that it would be okay at this point. I think just with the information we have, to go ahead and word the motion and the approval based upon the drawing, because no one has really verified it anyway. I mean, and we're not requiring, are we requiring a
That is part of the ordinance.
survey?
That is part of the,
We don't require a survey to come to the zoning board.
Right, but I mean.
You can request a survey to be on the zoning board, but we don't require one with
That is-
So when they go to
application.
make their application, they're not
Pretty sure
requiring
that's part of
a sealed sign?
that is part of it, yeah. You have to have a survey.
We don't always get one, but
We
it's
don't always get one, but it
required.
is required.
We had this conversation.
Yeah.
Right.
We verified that is in
Right.
the language.
Right.
Right, but I guess he's provided one, but that's the
But
problem.
it's
It's
from 19 and it's not.
correct, it's from
There's some-
a mortgage.
I actually
so-
called the surveyor because there's a number on there, because I was having trouble finding the rods, and I asked the guy if all that is like still valid, and he assured me it was. Nothing's changed property lines since that survey was done.
I mean, the only real solution I can come up with then is to table it and have him go and, I mean, I don't know when you're wanting to build, what your plan's timeframe was.
We've been dealing with it since August.
Yeah, so I don't know, probably right now you can't in this weather. You're not going to be rebuilding it at this, like, next week, I wouldn't think. But, I don't know, Tim,
That's already there.
what information would
Right.
you find sufficient as as far as what he has presented to come up with the number of exactly how much of a variance he is requesting?
Well, I could have denied it with the non-conforming section, which doesn't require a setback, just to reconstruct something that's not conforming. But I just used the 12-foot measurement from the aerial to reconstruct, meaning that
Correct.
his documents show that there was a deck there.
You used the premise that there was
Right.
already a 12-foot setback, and he was going to
He was
maintain a 12-foot setback.
He was reconstructing the same deck, not making it larger to the,
Right, so
whatever direction that is, east, perhaps.
we know it's 4.5 feet from the property line. Well, regardless of what the setback is, he's reconstructing exactly what was there.
I guess as a board, would you have an issue whether, looking at what he's rebuilding in the area that it's in, whether that measurement was 4 feet from the setback or 12 feet from the setback? I mean, as a board, looking at everything he's presented, is that going to make a difference to your voting decision?
It won't.
No.
No.
So the issue is that it wasn't noticed.
It's not noticed.
So does it
Thing.
mean, but if we can't get a number, I mean, I guess we can renotice it just to say it's non-conforming and to rebuild it. And then you don't have to give a specific, what Tim is saying, he wouldn't have had to give a specific setback anyway, would you, for
No.
that? So I mean,
I would have said it's not conforming because it lacks a front yard setback to South Commerce Road. That's what makes it non-conforming.
Yeah.
so I don't know if technically that's really, legally that's an issue at this point, as far as, I really honestly don't think someone's going to come and, I mean, things should be done correctly, though. But, I'm at a little bit of a quandary as to how we can actually come up with the correct number unless you go and get a surveyor to show the exact, but that's not what we have been doing with most of the cases. So, as far as them getting a signed survey, a new survey.
Or do we have a document that says 4 feet right now in front of us? Do we know? Okay, I was just thinking if we could put something in to the record, but we don't have anything.
That's the issue.
Can you just say that it's being rebuilt to the dimensions of the deck that was there prior to the tree falling on it?
As shown in the survey, but
There's ambiguity between the two.
to Mark's point is that,
How can you vote on something that's not technically accurate? That's my point. It sets us up for an issue.
Well, I think we have the information in front of us on the survey that shows where the deck is existing now, and he's just rebuilding it to the same footprint. I mean, we constantly,
But that contradicts what the aerial is.
where's our aerial
That's what
measurement?
Tim used,
What?
right?
Yeah.
The aerial isn't part of the package.
Yeah, I don't see that.
The aerial was separate, that was for the building permit.
But that's what he's going off of. That's where that 12 came from. That's what he said.
They're two separate, like, for the zoning, I had to provide the survey document, not the aerial. The aerial was for
Was
the,
it-
I mean, the aerials are,
was it aerial?
the aerial isn't accurate, the survey,
Yeah.
the
aerials are
survey is very
very
accurate.
inaccurate, you know, or they're not meant to be, like, yeah.
Well, the corner of the deck is definitely not 12 feet from the property line, so I don't know what they were measuring from, but
Well, I agree with you,
You know.
but how can you vote on that?
I know, I'm saying though,
Well, we don't even have the aerial to review as part of our package. So
No.
that part isn't really up for us to discuss.
But
Right.
that's ultimately what the 12-foot that Tim is saying, that is what we're voting on.
Could we just,
Well, we're voting on it,
But if we have a motion that says, in other cases where we've had something that is just slightly different than the thing where we're putting in a restriction under the conditions of this and this, that wasn't part of the original motion or case, but we added that. So why wouldn't we?
You can
be
add
able to make-
conditions.
You can add
too.
conditions, yeah.
To it, but I think Mark's issue is that because it's a greater variance
Yeah,
than what was
it's
advertised.
not correctly noticed.
So what was noticed was a lesser, but even if it wasn't correctly noticed, if it was a lesser variance, it would be okay because it's less.
Yes.
But now technically
It's
he's
more.
asking for more than what
Yeah.
was on the notice as far as the specific feet go. So, Tim, what would you suggest as a way to remedy, if we were to adjourn the meeting and
I'll
table
just,
it?
yeah,
What information would the applicant have to provide to make this a set number?
well, I would use the survey provided, this one.
And then you could,
Deny it as an existing non-conforming, needing to be rebuilt.
okay. And would you then need to give a
So that's-
specific?
So that's a different code then, right?
Different section,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So it's a whole different, that's the issue.
Well, so then I think the best way to resolve it for all, and you're gonna, I'm sorry, but you might have to wait another month.
Unreal.
Till the next meeting, and then we can cite it under that section, unless you want to go out and, we're not requiring you then to go out and spend money to get a surveyor, which technically.
I've only been spending money constantly, so just tell me what I need to spend.
I understand, you're feeling, but you haven't been before us before.
No, I have not.
Yeah. So if that would satisfy, legally, and I think that would be actually the best way to save you, because our code does, and that's something that needs to be clarified, as far as requiring whether we need a sealed.
Well, this survey's
Survey.
sealed. It just doesn't have the setback on it.
Yeah.
Correct. So if we can remedy that, and you'll.
I get it. It just, from where I'm as a citizen, it's just been an unfortunate circumstance from the beginning. I'm not trying to get away with anything. I'm
No,
just
no.
trying to put my house back the way it was when we purchased the house. That's all. I'm not, like I've told countless people in regards to this, it's not like I woke up one day and was unhappy with my deck and felt the need to do anything. And then like my property line is crazy to begin with I've been involved in all kinds of boards and things, and I know rules are rules and laws are laws, but we're talking about like an existing thing, putting it back exactly where it was, and we're concerned about a couple feet when like the corner of my garage that was built there before I bought it is only 1.5 feet. I mean, like, I'm not infringing on anything that's already not infringed, you know what I mean? And then that property line to that side is I mean, it's ridiculous, it's gross, like, you know, it used to have nice trees where I couldn't see the road, the trees fell and took those out, like, now I stare at that road the whole time. Like, I mean, like, I don't know if it's a safety issue or a beautification issue, but like, I'm only trying to enhance that, you know what I mean? Like I said, I just want to be done with this, you know, from August, you know, for the second time around, like, I don't even have a yard anymore, like, I paid thousands of dollars of it sod down, and that's destroyed because we had to take trucks back there to get the tree out. I mean, it's just, and this is, and nothing against you guys, but it's just like, at some point, like, some compassion and some common sense seems like it could trump a rule to help a citizen who's doing his best to enhance his neighborhood. And provide a safe, you know, people, we bought the house to entertain, like, I want to have a deck that's safe, like.
No, I understand your frustrations.
Yeah, very frustrated.
But if, I know it's not the solution you're looking for, but if we could table it, it wonon't be any extra cost to you.
I would rather pay than wait.
And, because the March meeting, if everyone's going to be available for that.
Are we able to get him on the March agenda at this point, do we know?
It's supposed to be
Oh,
5 weeks.
that's true, yeah.
Is there a way for us to?
We'd be having to wait till April.
If you want to renotice, you can.
Yeah.
I'm selling the house.
So, I mean, I guess at this point, we need to table it, and then, I think you have a feeling for the way it's.
Oh, I do.
For the way the board's, you know.
I have a feeling I don't think all of you are in agreement, like, just reading the room here.
I think just we've been frustrated because we only
That's
lived
my
in
wife.
the village for 3 years, and in those 3 years, 2 of our summers have been completely ruined due to natural disaster. Our first summer, our entire seawall was 30 feet up in the air. We can show pictures of that. We had to have that completely rebuilt. Last summer, I was standing on our deck when the tree fell and ripped our entire deck off of the house. It tore down all of our privacy tree lining to self-commerce. So we have been nothing but in a state of repair since moving to the village. We are trying our best to beautify the area and to replace it as quickly as possible so it's not an eyesore to our neighbors. It's just been very stressful, and I think, you know, especially for Jim's been dealing with the majority of it, and I know
That's not even dealing with the insurance and
so,
the bank.
you know, ask that.
Yeah.
Like, we're not taking our frustrations out on anyone here. It's just been, in the 3 years we've lived here, it's been nothing but.
It's like, one thing I'm not good at is filling out your guys' paperwork, like, I mean, stop talking?
No,
All right, I'm done talking. All right.
Be here all night. It's just been very frustrating, and, you know, we're trying to do everything correctly.
Just let's go.
It's costing us a lot of money outside of our insurance.
If you can, I mean, I think you have an idea that the board informally, I mean, we really shouldn't do that, but I think there's an idea that we understand, the board understands, and that they will, not like we're going to get a denial down the road.
Right. I know, it's just,
but it is these
unfortunately, it's been a long process, and you're
technicalities.
probably catching us at our height of frustration with.
Totally understand, and
And just with the insurance company and contractors and trying to get contractors right now and, you know, trying to deal with all that, so I appreciate, you know.
I mean, I think if
hearing
you
our
need to
frustrations.
order things and that kind of stuff, I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but to be prepared for when April, and unfortunately it is because March, we do need the time to notice up, so.
Yeah, we understand. So what do we need to?
And we already have something on the April agenda, according to our inspector, our administrator here, so there's already a case, so we know for sure we'll be meeting. And so you would not need to do anything, I'll confirm with Tim, because now that we have the survey, so you can renotice it, and considering that you've already, no extra cost, although I don't think we would just table it at this point.
Do I need to
because
get
of
an
the-
exact measurement? Like, to come, I mean, because if I don't have to bring anything different,
We
like,
just come back in April?
No, we're voting on a different code.
Okay,
That's the issue.
so same thing, different code,
Yep.
April, not now.
okay. Anything else you need from us, or? I mean,
Not
to
according
make
to our
sure.
building inspector.
Yeah, no.
That's ultimately what
we're
it
gonna-
is.
Yeah, we're going to use this plan
Okay, sounds good.
and deny it differently on your building permit application.
Okay.
To say that it's in the spot. So just to clarify, and I probably don't want to hear it, but just, I know it is a technicality, but what happened is the way that it was noticed was saying that you're encroaching into this, to the setback, and that's what we told your neighbors, that's what everybody got noticed to, but we said, oh, only 12, it's being, encroaching 13 feet into it, or we're asking for that variance, but in reality, we're asking for 4 foot, or it's encroaching that much more. So because it's more, technically, the way the rules are, one of your neighbors could say, oh, I don't mind if it only goes this far, but if it's that far, then I don't, and so we can't legally, they need to have the proper notice of what it is.
Yeah.
But I don't think, the board seems to be very open to your issue, and that's going to make a difference.
The frustrating part too is that we're literally replacing the exact same dimensions.
Correct.
So it's not like our neighbors are going to see anything different. It's the
Yep.
exact replica.
It's a silly technicality
Which
that
is what the
I,
next variance will say.
Sorry that you got caught
The next
up into
ordinance will
it.
say that we can
Okay, great,
approve.
thank you.
I don't think there's one that would disagree.
I don't know. These are all our neighbors.
well, it's 300 feet is what the legal, and that's
think
for the
we
whole
have them all.
state of Michigan,
Joan Erica's letter. Yeah, we went
There's
over.
letters in there.
So it's all neighbors, and then also, that's the personal notice, but then it's also published in the spinal column or whatever, so that anybody could have notice, but as well. So that's what's going to happen, but considering, I think I can, I'll talk to the administrator, and I don't think he's going to object to the fact that we've gone through this, and so there won't be any extra cost to you, but we do need to just get it done the proper way. And then you won't have to bring anything, we have the survey, and then it'll be written up as replacing what is existing. That's how everybody will have notice, and then you can just come, you don't have to bring anything additional.
Do you need to bring our neighbors again, or?
It's up to you if you want them to go on record next time in support, absolutely. Because we'll open to public next time, and they'll be able to come
You
up
can
and,
open to
or
public
open to
tonight.
public now.
Have them on record right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're all here.
Yeah, because we can read it from the minutes.
Sure.
Okay.
When is the April meeting?
Yeah, do you want to
Third.
do the support now, or
Then you don't have to come back.
it's up to you?
We'd like to be here. They'll be gone.
April 18th.
We will not be here April 18th, so.
I'll make a motion to open to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Stand up to the mic and give your name and address.
Since we won't need your name.
I'm Cheryl Cool, my husband Doug. We live at 2429 Ethel. We are 2 houses down from Jim and Kathy. Karen, her. They haven't lived here that long. Nothing that we haven't already said, other than they have our full support. What they're rebuilding, the line of sight that hits the corner that's in question is South Commerce and the apartments across the street and the trees and the traffic. You're going to impede the vision of cars going by at 45 miles an hour. There's nothing that this deck is, I understand what the laws are, and I don't know exactly what the intent of the laws of where the 25-foot came from. I know we have a lot of discussion about impinging of views and things like that. This is going to have none of that. So they have our full support on what they're trying to do. It's not hurting anything. There's no safety issues. We just wanted to make sure that was on record, that we support what they're trying to do. We have no problem at all.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Hello. My name is Mark Vandermeer. I live at 11 Payne Court, so I am directly across the canal from the house, from Jim and Karen. So when I wake up, when I go and I look out outside, I see their house. It would look worse if the portion of that deck was not there. For me, what they have done since I moved in from the previous owner, it looks a lot better with with what they're trying to do. And when they lost their trees the past 2 summers, their beach, all that area, how they fixed it back up looks a lot better than what it ever was. I agree, there's no visual distraction at all for what they had and what they're trying to put up. The property line on the side of South Commerce, it is a very strange property line. I do have to say that, because I know mine angles off, then it even gets even closer, like Jim said. So I'm in full support of them. I don't think anything would be not visually appealing, and I really don't think there's really nothing that could, that would hinder from, any visual setback, so.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then our third member, supporting the fact that we need the township.
Yes. Is there anybody else in the public that wants to speak on behalf?
I have a question.
Yes.
How come you can't be on March? How come you can't put it on the March?
I think our March date has passed in order for us to have the notices out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a state law requirement.
Anyone in the public want to speak against? Okay, we're going to close to public.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ian, do you want me to save this correspondence for the next meeting, just in support of?
Can save it, yeah,
Save it.
we can add it
Okay.
into the packet, because I think it's going to be a new case number, correct, Tim? Because they'll be republishing, so this might actually,
That part I can't answer.
I'm not sure if that's a new.
Well, either way, we'll make sure that this makes the record.
Well, that's
With the
why-
papers.
That's,
They withdraw it.
no withdrawal, no. So I'm just not sure, I'm thinking because it's a whole different, but it's the same property, but because it's a different variance that's gonna come
Yeah,
forward.
that's true.
That we may just close and they don't have to withdraw it, but
Yeah,
we're just gonna not rule on it, close it, and then have a new one come.
So, motion to close, motion to close ZBA case 23-726.
Second? All in favor?
I'll do a roll call.
Roll call.
Duff,
Yes.
Claiborne,
Yes.
Moretto,
Yes.
Morago,
Yes.
Hopper. Yes. Can't hear. Sorry. Brzezowski.
Yes.
And then Jim and Karen, you know your next steps.
Just show up in April.
Is that,
Correct, and if there's any
Okay.
more information, then that they might need, for some reason, they'll get in touch with you, but it's gonna be assigned a new case number, and then they'll renotice it, publish it, and all that, under the different section that you're requesting the variance under.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, alrighty. Switch gears to new business. Anything from council?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
I don't see any correspondence,
Okay.
unless anybody has anything else to add on new business.
We had a planning
yes.
commission meeting after our last zoning meeting.
Perfect.
And Sally wasn't there at that meeting, so we talked about the hot tub spa definition and kind of send it back to have her provide some examples of what other communities have done and maybe some guidance around what we would look for in terms of limits on that kind of thing. So next month. Because I think tomorrow we're also not, or Thursday, we were supposed to talk on Thursday, but that meeting has been postponed, canceled.
I don't see any table business. Hi there. Is this
Oh,
what we-
that's just my mom.
Oh, okay. I was like, hello. Yes.
She's staying with me for a few days, and I
Okay.
dragged her along for the excitement.
Perfect. Okay, I don't have anything else. I don't know if we have a meeting next month. We're gonna-
Doesn't sound like it, but not sure.
Is everyone available if we do?
I am not.
I will be.
Think I am?
Okay.
Yeah, should
Okay.
be.
So, all right. Well, I think that's all. So we'll see everyone next month if we have a meeting. Do a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.